So businesses are relatively slow to adopt to technology.
Yeah.
E-commerce has been there for a long time, but e-commerce and businesses have not been there. And we were ready. We knew how to build the technology, how to build the operations, how to build the logistics and things like that. So adoption of technology became the game changer during COVID, and businesses that were able to adapt to technology were the guys who were able to grab the market, I think.
Hi guys, this is Akshay and you're watching the Startup Tales, where we bring the inspiring stories from the world of entrepreneurship. So today we have the founder of Offineeds, Srikanth Acharya sir, on our platform. Welcome sir on the Startup Tales.
Great to have you here.
So can you tell me what is the idea behind Offineeds? First you tell me, when did it start actually?
Yeah, I started in 2005. I was working as a software engineer in 2000, from 2004 to 2005. And in 2005 is when I started a corporate gifting business. And back then it was called Gift Wrapped. That was the name with which we started. But around 2014 is when we changed the name to Offineeds.com. We tried to become a B2B e-commerce platform for office supplies, stationery, housekeeping, and those kind of things. So the idea was we will rebrand ourselves as Offineeds.com. Everything that offices need. That was the idea. But that failed miserably. And around 2017-18, we decided let's focus back on corporate gifting. But we retained the brand name, and that's the backstory to Offineeds.com.
Okay. This started in 2005.
Correct.
So you were working somewhere else, or how it was?
Worked with Infosys as a software engineer for 1 year, and then I started this business.
Okay. So while you were working, you got this idea.
So what really happened is I loved playing April Fool's prank. On 1st April, every year I'll play a prank on people that I know around me. And at that point of time, just to give you the background, back in 2004, getting a job in Infosys was a big deal. Right now, Infosys is about 3.5 lakh employees. Back then, it had about 35,000 employees. And, it was a very prestigious thing that you got recruited into Infosys. So I wanted to play a prank. I said, I'm going to quit Infosys and I'm going to start a company on my own. The whole intention was I wanted to get a reaction from them. And that's exactly the reaction. Are you crazy? Why would you do that? This is such a great job. Are you out of your mind? I got exactly the reaction which I wanted. And that's all I wanted. I had no intention of getting into business. And then people, after a while, somebody asked, okay, what business are you going to start? I had not thought about this actually. I never thought the prank will go on for so long. And I just blurted out, I'm going to start a corporate gifting business. Now, the reason why I blurted out corporate gifting business is about 15-20 days prior to that incident, I got a t-shirt from Infosys carrying the Infosys logo on it. And I was wearing it over the weekend. And I met a friend who was in the apparel business, and he said, hey, whoever got this, it must have been a big order. And some conversation was happening, and the word corporate gifting came into my mind. It just stayed as a weekend conversation. That's it. So I blurted out, I'm going to start a corporate gifting company. And then a barrage of questions. What is corporate gifting? Who will buy? How will you acquire customers? Where will you source products from? How will you come up with marketing ideas? How will you build a team? So many questions. My intention was keep the prank going as long as possible. So I just answered whatever came to my mind. I had no serious...
This happened in a day?
In a day, yes.
Okay.
From morning to evening, people asked me questions. I just went on answering whatever came to my mind. Then towards the end of the day, I said, hey, I'm just joking. Don't worry. Tomorrow I'm coming back to office. And this was just a prank. Everybody's like, oh, this is... So the prank worked basically. And after that, over the next 1 or 2 weeks, I was just thinking about it, and a business plan had formed in my mind answering all these questions. Right? And I was thinking, anyway, I'm not a great software engineer, and this is such a large organization. What difference can I really make being such a small part of such a large organization? And if I want to try my hand at entrepreneurship, I felt this was the best time because I was not married, no kids, no home loan, no education loan. So I'm free as a bird at this point of time. So now is a great time to experiment. And worst case, it doesn't work, I'll come back, I'll find another job next year or something like that. So that's how I started. And, I started doing some research for 1 or 2 months, and then I resigned. And then I started my corporate gifting business.
Okay. You just mentioned that you have resigned. It was a tough decision, or it was easy for you? You had already a plan in your mind, right?
I don't think it was a tough decision. Because you're like you guys, right? You and your team, you're young, you've got amazing amount of energy, lots of confidence. So that time you don't think so much. Yeah. The tough part was convincing the family.
Then how did you validate your idea at that time? How did you validate? Did you approach someone, or how was the beginning days?
Yeah, actually I didn't think so much. Okay, frankly, I think to some extent I got lucky. Okay. And I didn't validate it so much. The only validation, and believe me, back then, nobody spoke about entrepreneurship. As a matter of fact, I learned the word entrepreneurship and its spelling after that in 2008 or 2009. Till then, it was called business. Entrepreneurship I had not heard back then still. Startup was still not started. The word startup you started hearing in 2009, 2010, right? And so there was no guide. Internet was still not there. The dial pad phone was there. And most of the calls that I used to make used to be using that 1 rupee coin booth. Oh. So it was those days, so we didn't know business validation. I didn't know any of these kind of things. I just took the plunge, kind of got lucky. The only business validation was I was working with Infosys. Infosys placed an order for, a few thousands of t-shirts with their logo. So that meant there must be a market. That is the only validation that I had. And the fact that friend who mentioned it, he said, this is an up and coming business. That's it. That's the only validation.
So, you got validated your idea very fast, I guess. Yeah. And then later you started with you thought like this can be a big business or this can be a business itself.
It can be a business. Big, utna socha nahi tha.
Right. So then you validated your idea, sab ho gaya. Tell me the initial struggles what you faced. Why? Because that time no phones, no internet. How did you reach out to these people and how did you convince them at the start?
Customer acquisition strategy that worked brilliantly for me was all my friends were engineers. Everybody was working in different companies. One thing that I did is before leaving Infosys, my partner was there. Back then, I had a co-founder. His name is Srikanth. I introduced him to my HR manager in Infosys and I said, this is my friend who's starting a business. Wow. And I got him as registered as a vendor at Infosys. And to this day, we continue to do business with Infosys. And then what I did to acquire customers was all my friends who are software engineers in different companies. I told them, just introduce me to your HR managers. Everybody introduced. And the HR managers, they could not understand why would somebody leave a software engineering job to do this. And they said, okay, chalo, we'll give you an opportunity. Right? Some of them, it was out of pity. Some of them were like, this guy, he must be really stupid. Some of them felt this guy is doing very courageous. Whatever they thought, they gave me an opportunity. And that's how it started. So we started acquiring a lot of customers. Then back then there was no Facebook, there was no YouTube. Google was there, but it was just a search engine. There was no ads. There was nothing. You had yellow pages and phone directories. I don't think you guys have any idea what that is.
Like, can you elaborate?
So phone directory, there used to be all the phone numbers. There used to be landlines. Mobile was not there with everybody. Everything happened through landlines. Right? There used to be this fat a book. It's called a phone directory or yellow pages. And all the phone numbers in the city would be there in that book. So you pull that book, open up the pages, look for the company name and make calls. That's how cold calling used to.
So who was the first client and who was the first customer?
The initial 2, 3, 4 orders we goofed up. We totally goofed up the orders. I think if I'm not wrong, one event management company was there which gave the order. Another one of my partner's relative gave us an order. Like that, known people gave us the order and most of the orders we executed poorly. And then slowly we learned from that experience and slowly we started getting a little bit better and things like that. But the initial companies, Infosys was a company. HP, I remember we did business. There used to be a company called Area Solutions in Hosur Road. And there were some tech companies which were there. I'm not able to remember their names exactly. Basically, all my friends were the companies which came for campus recruitment, took all my friends on jobs, they became my clients.
Okay. So you reach out to their friends?
I told them, connect me to your HR manager. They connected me. It was very simple back then. It was not too complicated.
But in today's world, if you go to see, when we start a business in B2B, right, it is very tough to convince a whole hierarchy of persons who are in the top management. Okay, I just wanted to talk about the office politics, what is involved in B2B business.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great question which you asked. B2B is a lot more complex for 2 reasons, right? So let me just take a minute to explain the difference between B2B and B2C.
Yeah.
B2C is business to consumer. B2B is business to business. The main difference is if it's a business to consumer, let's say as an individual I'm buying, there is one decision maker. It's my money. I'm the user. I will do whatever it is that I want. But in businesses, what happens is there are multiple decision makers. Let's take the example of, let's say you need to fix an AC in a particular room, right? Then you need to get an AC vendor. Then the user is the people who will work there. But the decision maker is going to be a purchase manager who is going to negotiate with multiple vendors. Then there is a finance manager who is in charge of budgets and planning and payments and all those kind of things. So there are multiple users and the motivation for each user is very different. Like let's imagine in the case of AC, the person in whose cabin, the AC has to be, he will want the best AC.
Yeah.
That is his motivation. I want the best AC, best features, which will work properly, this, that, all that kind of stuff, right? Whereas the purchase manager's motivation is his KRA is to do comparison, find the best possible vendors, negotiate the best possible rates. So that is his KRA. He needs to grow in his role or her role. So different people, different decision makers in the organization have different motivation, different job responsibilities also. So that is why the B2B purchase, B2B decisions are relatively more complex. Coming back to the office politics which exist. Look, if there are more than 2, 3, 4 people, there is going to be misunderstanding. There is going to be different kinds of misaligned interest or aligned interest which could be there, or there could be a different approaches. People might have the same objectives, but the approaches might be quite different. And that's where it can, if they don't figure a way to get themselves on board on the same page and start working, it appears like politics. And the larger the organization, the chances of politics being there are higher. You cannot do away with office politics, but you should be able to balance it out and not allow it to become too extreme. And let it be a light-hearted thing. Just accept that it's office. There's going to be office politics, right? I think that's the way to address it.
But can you tell people, the entrepreneurs who are into this B2B segment,
Yeah.
and if there is some office politics going, there is politics everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, how do I make a proper funnel kind of thing, or how do I convert the client?
Yeah.
Okay, and then just override this office politics.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great question which you're asking, Akshay. And it's not so easy. But the way to do that is to identify who are the different decision makers,
Yeah.
and give a solid reason for each decision maker to do business with you. For example, let's go back to that example of AC, right?
Yeah.
So the person who is going to be using it, convince him that your AC is the best in that class. The purchase manager, demonstrate to him that why you're delivering the highest value, not the lowest price necessarily, but the highest value. Maybe you'll offer annual maintenance contracts for free, or discounts on AMCs, or some other benefits which you'll be able to offer, or the copper cables I'll offer for a lower cost, or something like that. Deliver the highest value. And the finance guy also understand what is the budget. And so that way, when there are multiple parties, if you're able to identify who are the multiple parties, and if it is possible that all the parties prefer to do business with your organization, that's when the chances of you getting the contract are higher.
Okay, when we go to B2B businesses, right? Okay, I'm starting a B2B business. I want to deliver my service to some person. I don't have a product. I'm selling a service. I don't have a prior experience or something to show what I've done. I don't have work to show.
Yeah.
And then how do I convince my client or the person who I'm reaching out to?
Yeah. So I did that, right? All of us start like that, right? When initially you will not have, and if it depends on what that product is, how critical that product is to what the business needs are and things like that, right? And there will be people who will be willing to take a bet on you. You need to be able to demonstrate to them. You need to be able to convince them. You need to go out of your way to say that I am ready to take a bet on you. And it's important to understand why that person doesn't want to take a chance.
Yes.
Because if you fail, if they onboard, let's say they onboard you as a vendor and they give you a chance, you don't have experience, you presented yourself really well, and that person gives you a chance and you goof up, this person is going to look bad in front of his boss, right? And he may get bad appraisals and he may lose his job also, right? That's the reason why people want to play a little safe when it comes to the B2B business. And the way to break that is to always see the solution to all forms of business is deliver the highest possible value that you can. That answers all of the questions. That's the only way to consistently get business in B2B or in B2C.
Yeah, I would like to talk more about 2005. Okay, how was the entrepreneurship? You just mentioned there was no word called as startups and entrepreneurship at that time.
Correct.
So how it has evolved? Okay, from 2010. Okay, how was the situation before and how it is now?
Yeah, I think it's changed big time, and things are changing really, really fast. Back in 2005, there was no way to know how you are supposed to run a business. Today, you just ask, hey Siri, tell me how to do this, and Siri will tell you.
If you want a business plan, put on ChatGPT, tell me business models. It will give
you a business plan.
It will give a plan. It will give you how to execute, how to do a valuation and everything.
Correct. Absolutely. But one thing that is common back then and even now, And I think one thing which is not going to change is that ideas don't mean so much. It's the execution which matters. Everybody can come up with ideas.
Started this Offineeds or you call it gift wrap.
Gift wrap.
Okay. Did you have mobile phone at that time?
I did. I was one of the few people who had a mobile phone. Not everybody had. Even among my classmates, not everybody had. Only phone and SMS. Those are the only two things that it could do.
And you play games on that?
Yeah, it used to have some
What game used to play?
some snake game or something was there. I can't remember what was I think there used to be something called Tetris, if I'm not wrong.
So let's come back to Offineeds itself. I'm just getting that logo is calling me. Can you explain me what is Offineeds and then Honeybee on that?
Yeah. Okay. They say that the honeybee is a very important part of the ecosystem. Right? The honeybee plays a very important role in pollination, in agriculture, in a lot of things. For the sustenance of the ecology, honeybee plays a very, very important role. And apparently, if the honeybee becomes extinct within 30 days or 90 days or something, the entire the food chain will collapse and humanity will cease to exist. So that important a role honeybee plays. Unless the honeybee becomes extinct, we will not know its value. Unless the employee stops working, we will not know its value. So to honor the employee whom we ultimately serve, as a corporate gifting company, we give gifts to organizations who give it to employees so that the employees are motivated to work longer and stay more engaged. So to honor that, we put the honeybee as a logo on Offineeds.
Can you mention few of the clients which you have in your portfolio?
Yeah,
top clients.
Yeah, absolutely. So we work with about 4 or 5 different segments. One is we work with large companies. And in that, we have 2 sizes. One is companies with 500 to 5,000 employees. Another is 5,000 plus employees. Yeah. Then we have 2 more segments. One which we call Premier, which is about 100 to 500 employees. And then we work with MSMEs also, which is less than 100 employees. Then we work with trainers and coaches. These are the 5 segments which we work with. So in the large companies, some of the companies that we work with include Flipkart, PhonePe, Standard Chartered Bank, Infosys, Lenovo, Tally, Bosch and Byju's and GE, and these are the kind of companies which we work with. There are several more MSMEs and mid-sized organizations who are doing phenomenal work and who are very, very keen to take great care of their employees that we work with. Another very interesting segment that we work with is trainers and coaches and social media influencers.
What's the vision and mission of Offineeds?
Yeah, the vision at Offineeds is to help organizations to turn their employees, customers, dealers, and community into their brand ambassadors. And our mission is to deliver on this promise through making corporate gifts and custom merchandise, through making it easy, fast, and as practical as possible.
Everyone's business got affected due to COVID.
Yeah.
Okay. How COVID affected Offineeds?
Oh, it affected big time. Okay, it really, really affected big time. And so I'll tell you what happened. So around 2016, 17, I realized, 15, 16, 17, I realized we had made big mistake and our business had tanked. We almost ended up going bankrupt. And slowly 2018, 19, 20, slowly we gained our way back and we became quite good. 2020 February, we took the entire team. So we had accrued a lot of debts. We cleared all the debts. We became positive. We started to regain our reputation and our customers and everything. And 2020 was a good year. Was supposed to be a good year. Okay. So February 2020, we had a team of about 36, 37 people. We took the entire team to Goa. We celebrated 15 years we had completed in business. We celebrated with the entire team and we came up with grand plans saying 2020 में ऐसा करेंगे फाड़ देंगे and everybody was like fully charged up and we came back. February we came back. March lockdown, right? March 24th 2020 lockdown, and when the lockdown happened we had no idea what hit us and every industry, every business got disrupted, right? So the same thing happened to us. We never imagined that we will how can a corporate gifting company which deals with physical products work from home? Yeah. Right? How are we going to deal with that? And suddenly there is utter chaos. Nobody expected that you will have to work from home and, so many people falling sick and all of this. There's total confusion, right? And corporate gifting, we lost 99% of our business. If we were doing X amount of business, 99% of that business we lost in April. April, May, June, absolutely no business. But I was adamant. Most people in the industry, they were firing their employees, sending them home. There were people who are going back to their hometown and stuff. Like, I didn't want to fire any of our employees. I spoke to our landlords, our employees. I said, look, we'll have to take a pay cut at this point of time. We took a pay cut. All of us took a pay cut, and we started experimenting. Let's see what else we could do at this point of time. And as a result of that experiment, we ran multiple experiments. But the most interesting thing which happened is what I realized is my office was walking distance from my home. And my wife was working with Accenture at that point of time. And she would say, hey, I can't work from home. This is too inconvenient sitting on sofa and sitting on a dining table and working. Let's go to your office and work. And that was a light bulb moment for me. Like, okay, now if she is struggling, every corporate employee also is going to be struggling to do this. So what we did is we knew to build e-commerce brand stores. E-commerce stores we knew to build. We had that technology in-house. So we decided, let's quickly build a website where we sell chairs, tables, laptop stands, headphones, Wi-Fi improvement equipment, anything that's required to empower people to work from home more effectively. And we built a website called thehomeoffice.in.
Okay.
And then it was like a D2C website. But then we also started reaching out to our corporate clients. We asked them, and you would call them, it would be like, hey, we don't want gifts here. We are struggling. We don't know how. Like, no, I'm not going to talk about gifts.
No.
What about your employees? What are you doing to help them work from home? They don't have chairs, tables, laptop stands, all these things to work from home, right? How you work? No, we are trying to figure out. We said, we built a platform. Why don't you give points on this platform?
Yeah.
And that was a big hit. All our corporate clients started giving points to their employees on this platform. And we started getting in orders. And at a time where all corporate gifting was tough, we were expanding our warehouse, we were adding more people, we were doing more business, we were speaking to government authorities to give us permission to work. We were saying that work from home equipment is essential, work essentials, so you need to allow us to work and things like that. So it was a very strange time, and if you think about it, the business was not related. It was not a corporate gifting item at all. We struggled a lot. Like, how do you courier a chair, right? It's such a big parcel, right? How do you ship it? It's very expensive. Then what if it breaks? How do you do the packaging? It's a very, very complex supply chain, which we dived head first and then figured out how to do it. It's like they say that, right? An entrepreneur jumps out of the plane and then figures out how to build a parachute. Okay. So that was exactly what we did. We did that, and that worked brilliantly for us. We did some amazing business. We were able to retain our team. We were able to grow our team, and that played. And after about 4 or 5 months of COVID, things started to change. Yeah. People started to realize, okay, this is the norm, and employee engagement became more important during COVID than before, because employees are getting onboarded remotely. They've never seen their colleagues. They've never come to office. So that relationship with the company, with the brand, with their teams became more important. And that's where corporate gifting became even more important. Yeah. So, but the challenge after COVID, during that COVID time, was not corporate gifts. It was home delivery of corporate gifts. Oh. So we identified that home delivery is the important part, and we became masters. And through the home office, we were already shipping a lot of products. So we understood how to do home delivery, and we started offering 100% guaranteed home delivery to our clients, which our other competitors were not able to offer. Like this, we identified quite a few opportunities. See, every time there is a challenge, there are some new opportunities which will get unlocked. You need to keep looking out for that, and you need to act on that really, really fast. And that's, I think, something which we did reasonably well. And not only did we survive that COVID situation, we thrived in that COVID situation. In those 2-3 years, from about 40 employees, we are now at about 120 employees. So I'd say we did reasonably well.
For this, whatever you have spoken, this is one question which is popping in my mind. During COVID, many companies had to shut down.
Yeah.
But after COVID, we could also see that COVID became an opportunity for many of the businesses.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. What was the opportunity for you?
Yeah. So businesses are relatively slow to adapt to technology. Yeah. E-commerce has been there for a long time, but e-commerce and businesses have not been there. So the remote working forced businesses to adapt to technology much more faster, and the businesses which were able to deliver through technology grew. And we were at the right place at the right time is what I feel. I'll give you an example. We had a product or a solution called brand stores, where we would set up white labeled e-commerce websites for clients selling their merchandise to their employees. Yeah. Now pre-COVID, it was like, okay, it's good to have, we'll see, we'll think about it and all that kind of stuff. But now that everybody is working from home, everybody wanted brand stores. And we were ready. We knew how to build the technology, how to build the operations, how to build the logistics and things like that. So adoption of technology became the game changer during COVID, and businesses that were able to adapt to technology were the guys who were able to grab the market, I think.
I guess you are also the fastest executor at that time. So you grabbed that opportunity.
Absolutely correct.
Nowadays, we can see that all the founders are coming into content creation. Okay, tell me how important it is for a founder to generate content and tell about his product.
Yeah. No, I think, again, another amazing question which you asked, Akshay. Until recently, we would never see the faces of the people behind the business.
Yeah.
Okay. But things are changing. If you think about Tesla, you think about Elon Musk. If you think about Mahindra and Mahindra, you think about Anand Mahindra. You think about Tata, you think about Reliance, you think about... Now the business owners are starting to become their own brand ambassadors. I think it is about time where not just business owners, not just entrepreneurs, even employees are becoming brand ambassadors of those organizations. And especially mid-sized businesses, MSME businesses, I think there's a great opportunity for business owners to become content creator. Personal branding is becoming a very, very important topic. And I think they should absolutely do that. I'll give you an example here, okay? Now imagine you are a manufacturer of a particular product. Let's say you manufacture t-shirts, okay? And you don't want to create content on your own and you need to sell it to somebody. Then the customer acquisition cost is very high because you need to spend on ads, you need to spend on inorganic kind of content, which you need to push to your audience, and it is very, very expensive. Vis-a-vis, let's say you are a content creator. You don't have a product yet. You're a content creator. And you're creating content about this, about that, you're about travel, about food, about comedy, about whatever it is, and you're garnering 1,000, 10,000, 20,000, 1 lakh, 1 million followers. And then you already have the community which is there. Now you sell t-shirts to them, you sell whatever products that you want, you have a ready audience which is there. Which is where I think content creation, businesses have to start creating content. Yeah. Okay, businesses absolutely have to start creating content, and I think that is very, very important.
Tell me one thing is like, what should the entrepreneur look at? Short-term goals or the long-term visions?
Let me try and answer this through a mythological story that I heard. I'm not able to remember the name of the person who said this, but he said that in the Hindu mythology, there are 3 gods, right? Your Vishnu, Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara. Brahma, who is responsible for creation, Vishnu, who is responsible for sustenance, and Shiva for destruction, right? And if you think, each one of them has their own favorite animals, so to say, right? Vishnu has he has got multiple hands, and 2 hands. He has one hand, he has a snake, which is a sarpa, and another hand, he has an eagle or a garuda. So the logic behind that is for sustenance, for long-term sustenance, you need to be able to balance short-term thinking as well as long-term vision. The eagle flies high. It sees, it gets a bird's eye view. It has got a long-term vision. It's looking at it from a distance and it can see what is happening in a long-term distance. That represents long-term vision. And this the snake is slithering on the ground. It's got its ear to the ground. It's connected to what is happening at the ground level, and it is managing that short-term execution. So the balance between short-term goals, short-term execution, and long-term vision and long-term goals is very, very important. You need to have a snake in one hand and an eagle in one hand to be able to sustain for a long time.
We'll just go back to the previous question, discussion what we were talking about, the content creation and how it is important, right? I was just discussing with Ajay today, and then he just mentioned like before the advertisement was like people to sell any product or something, okay, to sell a product or a service kind of thing, people are running ads and all these things. Nowadays, advertisement has changed into podcasting. So what you have to tell about how podcasting can be a source of advertisement for businesses and also for a personal branding point of view?
Yeah. That's a great point which you make, right? Now, not just podcasting, any form of content creation is a way to disseminate information about your product, your service to your target audience, which is basically your customers. And there are multiple ways to do that. Ads is one of the ways to do that. SEO is one of the ways to do that. And a new age way to do that is through content creation. And content creation has multiple formats, through videos, through case studies. Podcasting is one of the ways to do that. And this is one of the organic ways to be able to do that. And what is interesting, because everybody has a mobile phone in their hand, has access to internet, people want to consume content. that is useful to them. That is the content that is entertaining them as well as educating them. So if you're creating content that is entertaining them, educating them, and targeting the right people and addressing their challenges, their their pain points, and helping them achieve their goals and their desires in life, then practically for free you're able to attract your audience, your target audience to yourself. I think that is why content creation is a very important game, and podcasting is extremely important in that content creation bracket, is what I would say.
Yeah, I guess it is going to be a game changing because all the entrepreneurs, if you see Nitin Kamath and then Credit founder Kunal Shah, they are getting into podcasting and they are calling the entrepreneurs. So when we talk about podcasting, is like when we say there is an interview, it is just like a formal way of communication. When we say podcasting, it is not that much informal also and a formal thing also.
Right.
It's just a discussion.
Yeah.
Tell me how podcast can bring collaborations into B2B businesses. That's main thing. For example, you want to start a business or you want to connect to some other founder, you can just call him on a podcast and have a discussion and have a good relationship and a bonding.
Yeah.
And then later you can take your business over there.
Yeah.